Hello and welcome to This Week in Agriculture, a presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder. On this week's presentation, we take a look, as usual, at the highlights of Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa's week of activities and furtherance of agriculture across the country. Of course, we hear that this week there was good news for the smallholder farmers across the country. The FAO has joined the effort to bring relief to them, and we will be hearing all about that in this week's presentation. We will also hear about some of his other engagements with international organizations and, of course, right here at home, engaging with partners in the drive to develop agriculture and ensure that its potential is fully realized. We will also hear from two of the brackish water interventions beneficiaries on the quarantine, those guys who government has helped expand and improve their ponds, their brackish shrimp water ponds there along the quarantine coast. We will hear from two of the bigger guys who've been doing very well since those interventions by the government led by Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa. So all that and more when we come back.
Government has committed to assisting coconut farmers across the country in their efforts at expanding their cultivations. This help will come through the clearing of vegetation and digging of internal drainage and irrigation channels. Farmers can also expect help in the form of technical support through NARI and the Hope Estate. Further, coconut seedling nurseries have been established in various regions as part of a decentralization program for nurseries. Coconut seedlings are now available. These are the 5, 3, and 18-month varieties. Farmers are reminded that the recommended number of trees per acre is 50. Persons interested in purchasing seedlings may make contact with Hope Estate on telephone number 663-2709. Once the booking is made, seedlings can be picked up from a nursery nearest you. A message from the management of Hope Estate, Ministry of Agriculture. Region 5, West Berbice, is the largest single contributor to Guyana's rice production annually, with some 45% of national production. Region 5 is also the largest contributor of beef and other meats from animals reared on lands in that region. All lands in Region 5 fall under the purview of the Mahakam-Bikoni-Abari Agricultural Development Authority, MMA-ADA, an agency of the Ministry of Agriculture. In recognition of the importance of its role in the production levels of the region, the Ministry of Agriculture has been expanding millions on not only rehabilitating the neglected D&I structures and dams, but has been retooling the entity with millions in excavators and other equipment and tools for the work ahead. The completion of Phase 2 begins this year and has been catered for in the 2021 national budget. Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa says the MMA is key to doubling rice production in 5 years. The future for agriculture in Guyana is exciting. Let's all play our part. A message from the MMA Ministry of Agriculture. Here's an important notice. Do you know that it is illegal to import, store, distribute, sell, and purchase antibiotics without a license or prescription, as the case may be? According to the Antibiotic Act of 1952, owners of livestock and other animals are not permitted to purchase and use antibiotics unless prescribed by a veterinarian. It should be noted that the misuse of antibiotics could result in the development of resistance to the very antibiotic, which in turn will pose health risks to the animal and to humans. The GLDA advises that farmers should not administer antibiotics to animals unless prescribed by a veterinarian. Non-compliance with this act will result in fines and imprisonment. A message from the Guyana Livestock Development Authority, Ministry of Agriculture. The Ministry of Agriculture is warning members of the public that it is illegal to dump garbage of any kind near to or into drainage and irrigation waterways across the country. The NDIA, the agency tasked with the maintenance of drainage and irrigation in Guyana, has noted that there is an alarming increase in the incidence of garbage getting into DNI waterways and causing blockages in the first instance. But worse than that, the garbage that includes clothing, rotting carcasses, pieces of wood and metal, gets past protective grills of the critical mobile and fixed pumps, resulting in damage to the pumps, which have to be taken out of service for repairs, placing communities at risk, especially during the rainy season. The Ministry of Agriculture notes that when this happens, millions have to be spent on repairs to the pumps and on clearing the canals of debris thrown there by irresponsible citizens. The ministry warns that rangers of the NDIA will be on the lookout for those engaging in this illegal practice. Persons caught will be made to face the full force of the law. A message from the NDIA Ministry of Agriculture.
The week for agriculture began with great news for at least 200 smallholder farmers, with news that the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, had joined the effort to offer tangible flood relief to small farmers affected by the flood disaster last year. On Monday, the FAO, in the person of its resident representative, Dr. Gillian Smith, presented to Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa at his Regent Street office millions of dollars in flood relief in the form of agricultural inputs for the target group of affected farmers. The FAO project, titled Emergency Response and Early Recovery Support to Smallholder Farmers Affected by the 2021 Floods in Guyana and Suriname, will see livestock medications, seeds, planting materials, and fertilizers being supplied to farmers. This aspect of the project will be done at a total cost of 28 million Guyana dollars. Another 6 million will be spent in capacity building exercises involving technical staff of the ministry as well as farmers. This training will be aiming to reduce the vulnerability of farming communities, provide the necessary support to farming businesses, and reduce the increasing threat to the nation's food security. Speaking at the presentation ceremony, FAO's resident representative Dr. Gillian Smith said the project will equip the farmers with much needed training in disaster risk management and flood recovery response.
We're really happy, again, to be partnering with the Ministry of Agriculture and its agencies, in particular, in this case, the GLDA and NARI, to provide a small contribution of support to the vast work that's already been undertaken by Guyana to respond very quickly to the floods that we have recently seen. This project for FAO is very important because we really wish to continue to demonstrate the support that we have to the work that is already ongoing. There are two things that we're setting out to do under this project today. Well, under this project. Two of them are. The two are, number one, to provide what I would characterize as ongoing support to small farmers and institutions in the area of agriculture disaster risk management and flood recovery and response. We already know that a lot of effort has gone into supporting farmers and into getting back to planting and to growing. This is a phased support to continue along that line. The second thing that we would like to be able to do under this project is, again, to support the efforts of the ministry to build its institutions and to build its responsiveness for planning, and to be able to strengthen its ability to support farmers and to support the farming community in preparing for disasters, responding to disasters, and moving back into full production. FAO recognizes the immense ongoing support that's already been given, and today what we would like to do is our first handover of agricultural and livestock inputs to the Ministry of Agriculture. We have here hand tools, assorted seeds, fertilizers, all to be distributed to farmers through regions that were affected by the floods. In the same vein, we are also handing over livestock medication as part of the contribution for NARI to support over 200 livestock farmers who rear cattle, swine, and poultry. The estimated value of today's inputs is approximately 8.9 million Guyanese dollars. And for the entire life of the project, we are looking at an estimated 136,000 US dollars of support. We understand that this is very small. We understand that this is relatively small compared to the commitment that Guyana has already made in terms of supporting farmers and farming communities. We understand too that when you look at the contribution to individuals farmers, that it may look relatively small, but I do want to make the point that for many small farmers, the support that they get, any support that they get, makes a huge difference. And that's where we are focusing our efforts, on the people who really need the help the most. So in closing, I want to thank again NARI, I want to thank GLDA. Minister, I want to thank you and your agencies especially for the partnership and collaboration. We have had a lot of very good support and partnership from NARI and GLDA. They have led most of the way in all of these processes, and we're very happy to work with you on this, and we will continue to do so.
In his remarks, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa said the ongoing support from the FAO is invaluable to the work of the Ministry of Agriculture, especially in the face of the growing challenge being posed by the impacts of climate change.
And this here is a testimony to the FAO's commitment in helping smallholders farmers to go back, as we are saying from the government level, to get back on their feet as quickly as possible. You would have recalled His Excellency in August of last year made a commitment to bring relief to the persons or those farmers who had affected by the flood in 2021, May, June. And in that area, I am happy to say that the government and through the Ministry of Agriculture would have already supported and bring relief to approximately 50,000 farmers already. And that process is ongoing across the country. As I am speaking here, our officers are in the field trying to complete the mopping up exercise. And this here today, as I said, is another support from our partner in helping the agriculture sector, because as a government, we recognize the importance of agriculture to our economy. We recognize the importance of agriculture to the development of our country. That is why we are not only talking about one sector. We are not only talking about the oil and gas sector, although we are now an emerging oil and gas producing country. We recognize that for a country to be successful, we have to develop our agriculture sector, first of all, to have food security nationally, and then also to help our sister country in the CARICOM to also achieve food security. Today, Guyana is playing a leading role in driving the agri-food system in the Caribbean. As a result of that, we would have to set the example. And if we have to reduce, as a collective, the food bill by 25% in 2025 regionally, then Guyana has an important role to play to fill that void. So today's support, today's gesture by the FAO is commendable, and the agriculture inputs such as livestock medication, seeds, planting materials, fertilizer, and we heard the total cost of the program will be $136,000 US, will be distributed to smallholder farmers affected by the flood last year. In addition, Farmers and technical officers stand to benefit also from training worth approximately $29,000. These agriculture inputs, as well as capacity building exercises, will continue for 2 years and will contribute greatly to reducing the vulnerability of our farming communities, supporting farming businesses, and reducing the increasing threat on the nation's food security. In Guyana, as I said, we recognize the effect of climate change on our agricultural sector and subsequently the livelihood of our farmers. That is why, as a government, we are trying to change the ways we have been doing things over the year in the agriculture sector. Gone are the days when we used to go in a large field and start planting. Today, the government is making budgetary allocation available so that we can start smart agriculture practices. Over the last 17 months, we were able to build across the country over 150 shade houses to support farmers so that they could change the method of doing agriculture and doing it in a smarter way. Today, we are seeing the results where climate change is real. And as a nation and as a government, we have to prepare our farmers because, as I said, that this is a very important sector. We also recognize the essential role that our smallholder farmers play in support chains and food system. They are a key aspect of our agricultural development in our country and overall our economy. We take pride in our efforts and achievements in supporting our local farmers for their economic advancement and resilience for the advancement of our agriculture sector and the achievement of food security in Guyana and further afield. Indeed, with our high level of vulnerability to climate change and other shocks, we recognize that there is still much work to be done. As such, we continue to strive for the advancement of our agriculture sector through investment in drainage and irrigation and climate resilience crops and livestock practices. I want to express our thanks and appreciation and gratitude to the FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization, for this timely gesture, for this timely donation to support our local smallholder farmers in particularly difficult time when we are grappling to overcome the effect of the 2021 flood, coupled with the impact of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic on our agriculture sector. The Ministry of Agriculture recognizes and wishes to commend the FAO and the country director, country representative, Dr. Gillian Smith, and the effort she and the FAO is making to achieve food security for all and to make sure people have regular access to enough high-quality food to live active, healthy lives. You have once again shown continued support to Guyana agricultural sector. We are making 2022 a year of collaboration and action that leads to opportunity and progression for all Guyanese. We look forward to future collaboration and your continued support. I'm very optimistic, ladies and gentlemen, that 2022 will be a very transformative year for the agriculture sector, where the Guyana will take its rightful place once again of being the shining light in the Caribbean in agriculture.
Monday's presentation was attended by representatives of the smallholder farmers who expressed their gratitude to the FAO and to government for the continuing support in the face of the challenges they face from time to time. On Tuesday, Agriculture Minister Mustafa joined President Dr. Irfaan Ali and other ministers of government for an engagement with a team of Surinamese investors here on a fact-finding mission. The meeting, which was also attended by head of Go Invest, Dr. Peter Ramseroop, focused on sharing with the investors the many investment opportunities available in the various sectors, especially in agriculture and in the hospitality industry. On Wednesday, Minister Mustafa joined his counterparts from Africa and the Americas for the first high-level roundtable between Africa and the Americas, convened and organized by the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa and the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, ICA, entitled Building Bridges for Future Cooperation in Agri-Food Systems. The ministers have since launched a common agenda focusing on innovation, environmental sustainability, and the profitability of family farmers. The high-ranking officials who participated in the virtual event agreed that beyond the cultural and historical similarities and differences between the Americas and Africa, the continent faces a unique and common challenge, that of building knowledge-intensive agriculture with a human face, while caring for the environment and considering the areas of nutrition and health which they agreed is necessary in order to produce more and higher quality food. Finally, on This Week in Agriculture, we share with you the comments of two beneficiaries of government's brackish water shrimp farm improvement and expansion program on the Quarantine, a project that began under the guidance of Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa just under a year ago. Mr. Ronald Arjun is considered one of the largest brackish water shrimp farmer in the Quarantine, with an average shrimp production of 30 tons of shrimp per acre of pond. And while he is yet to benefit from government's pond improvement program, this farmer is praising government's initiative in this regard and says those that have benefited are seeing an increase in production.
Well, first of all, I must compliment the Minister of Agriculture along with the government entirely, because this intervention will create a major impact. Actually, is making a record, making history in this country for the very first time. Government take this initiative to launch this program into place to elevate, to develop aqua farming in this country, and definitely it is a good intervention because it will boost production, it will expand farm, upgrade farm, and it will create more opportunities for export and opportunity also for our local people here to have more jobs.
Speaking directly to the impact the project has had on the production levels, Mr. Arjun says it has been remarkable.
There is impact already because of the farmers that already have their pond dig and some preparation with the initiative. It already create an impact because they improve, they have more production, the farm is in a little more advanced stage, and I know they were promised to develop more in times to come. So it is a double impact actually, an impact already and an impact to come in the future.
Mr. Arjun has applied to government for land to further advance his operations through the establishment of value-added production facilities, processing and packaging of his fish and shrimp. Not only will this farmer be processing his own catch, but will be buying from other Quarantine shrimp farmers.
Well, my main objective is a processing plant along with a complete package. It has to be a feed factory, so that I could be able to recycle my waste, so it will be a value added towards the company, and it will definitely be more benefits. So because we have to source feed from other country and ingredients, and if we could be able to recycle our own waste here and put it into feed, it is definitely going to create an impact. It's going to boost the farm, it's going to help in every area.
Mr. Arjun disclosed that his processing house will be packaging fish and shrimp for both local consumers and for export. He will also be establishing opportunities for the all-inclusive experience, a restaurant where clientele can see live fish and shrimp in glass tanks and choose which they want to have for lunch or dinner, and then have their choice prepared for them on the spot.
We will be offering processed products like shrimp, swamp shrimp, prawns, and I'm in a line to do some tiger prawns also. Along those accompanied with curryman, mullet, basha, snook, hassa also. So I am thinking about fresh, season, and very soon food, like harvest from the pond. People make a order what they want and you prepare it as a meal for them. So it will be a full cycle as a whole. From the farm to get it cleaned up, to process it and put it into food. So we're talking about from the beginning to the ending. So people could look at the farm, say they want some shrimp or some fish to eat, and by the time they take a little look around or so, you could prepare their food, whatever they choose, and prepare and give them into food.
Another major player in the brackish water shrimp industry under quarantine is Mr. Irvin Abdullah, whose farm is situated at number 19 from the public road all the way down to the seashore. He gave us an overview of his operations, which began in 1985.
This farm here is primarily concerned with the rearing of black shrimps. It's a prawn really of the Smithy variety that we have, and we have successfully reared this shrimp where our catch in the first instance when we started was close to 1 ton of shrimp per day. This sounds fantastic, but what happened during that time is that this really here was a cattle pasture where thousands of head were reared, and so the rich organic matter and the fertilizer from the cattle enhanced production greatly. But over a period of time, without any addition of any other additive or feed or food, our production declined, where it's now averaging more like 20 buckets per day, because we are doing what we call extensive cultivation. Government has implemented a new program, and we are very grateful for the intervention by government, where we'll be moving into semi-intensive aquaculture. 4 ponds have already been developed, and you would see that our production has moved from I think it is 1 ton of shrimp last month. We'll be moving to 2.5 tons this month, and we only have 4 ponds in operation. When the rest of the ponds are finished, we expect that our production would be more than 5 or 6 folds. And in time, once we have the other ponds in operation, we should be reaching very significant output.
Mr. Abdullah told us that he is shifting his operations from a mainly extensive to semi-intensive, help for which was provided by government under its Swamp Shrimp Farm Improvement and Expansion Project.
The 550,000 kilograms of shrimp will be met and surpassed by this farm. I can say this with confidence and assurance because we produced this way back in 1985 when the farm was in its infancy, when it just started, when all the factors were met, such as nutrition, feed and all that was coming from the thousands of head of cattle that used to be reared here. This project is one that it astounds us that government can stretch so much and do so much for its farmers, not only for me, but for the rest of the 88 farmers that they are developing their ponds. That we are going to have a great amount of shrimp and other fish species produced to more than satisfy and fulfill the needs of Guyana and even the Caribbean as well, and have excess as well for export.
This veteran shrimp farmer has also disclosed plans to establish nature walks and to offer the opportunity for sport fishing to members of the public as his contribution to the expansion of the tourism product in Guyana. He told us of a project that has already started, that of the construction of a 3-story building that will overlook the Atlantic Ocean.
To the left of me, way down at the Coca area, there's the beginnings or the foundation for a 3-story building that we will use for security purpose and to have a view of the ocean as well, the aesthetics, and that's important. That construction was stopped because of the rainy season, but as soon as we have good weather, we will continue with all aspects of development in this pond.
Well, that's all the time we have in this week's edition of This Week in Agriculture, a presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder. Until next time then, be good to yourselves and to each other.